Now, 2002 Chevy Impala transmission removal, 3.8 motor, 4T65E transmission. The second one I had to put in this car. These things are a problem, I guess. I mean, I put one in a year ago. I paid somebody to put one in a year ago, $500. They did it in the day. It lasted me a whole year. I drove this car. I put like 40,000 miles on it a year. I drive it a lot. I need another transmission now. Maybe that's my issue. Maybe that's my fault. But I'm about to do it again. So what you gotta do is, this is not a professional engine brace. Hopefully you guys know what a professional engine brace look like. If you need to rig one up, that's how you do it. You got the chain strapped to the motor, bolted to the motor. Steel brace going across both sides. It should be strong enough to hold. Some wood chalk, so it's gonna go down into my fender. And I got all the bolts done from the top of the transmission. You got these bolts right here, two bolts. What you got? Let me see. One, two, got three bolts on this side right here. I got a few bolts on this side. I ain't sure if I have not took those out yet, but I'm about to. I believe this right here hooked up, so once the motor comes down, when I take the subframe out, it's gonna hang in the air. Motor gonna hang in the air by this and that. Maybe that. But you gotta come down here. You gotta pop your axles out. Take your suspension off. However you gotta do it. Get your caliper loose. That should really be hanging up here somewhere. Getting the car up high enough so once you drop the transmission down, you can clear it. So on the jack stands, make sure you got a good jack stands, of course. Make sure you say safety first. So you got the transmission mounts. Undo the transmission mount. 1, 2. You got transmission lines. Pop those little clips out. Pull the lines out. No screws involved. You got those two, that hole right there in the subframe. That hole right there. Those two holes. Those go to the motor mount. Take those loose. So remember, you got your whole suspension undone over here to come down with the subframe when you take it loose. I can see that. This one is down also. I got the strut out, axle popped out, everything is loose. The only thing it's hooked up to is the subframe. So when I bring the subframe down, all of this suspension stuff is coming down with it. I got stabilizer bar unhooked, the tie rod unhooked, power steering hoses from over on this side. Hooked up to the little power steering box right there. Maybe you can't see, it's kind of dark. I ain't got the light on this side. Once you look up under there, you can see the power steering box. You can see the power steering pump. A little power steering box that hold a little fluid or whatever reservoir. With the hoses connected to the bottom of it, you're gonna unscrew those. And while you're over here, see if I can get some light. Yeah, get some light. And while you're over here, you got when you done pop the axle out, and since you popped it. Since I done popped the axle out, can't put it here. Got the power steering pump reservoir. Got the return line unhooked. Got the pressure line right here, unhooked from the power steering box right here. You go back here, while you're down here, you got 2 bolts in the back of the transmission. It's like a bracket on the back of this transmission right here. 2 bolts, one right here, one right there. Got those out. So what you're doing is when you lower this down, the whole rack and pinion, subframe, suspension, all that's coming down. One more thing you gotta do for the rack and pinion to come down with it. I think I haven't done yet. You gotta come over here. I can get up here and see this. Up here, where you got the steering. More this shit out the way. Okay. Where you got the steering column that comes out down here, hooked up to the rack and pinion, right here. You gotta raise that little piece of plastic deal up. You see that yellow piece of plastic right there? Raise that up. It's a 7/16 bolt inside there. You unscrew that bolt, and then the rack and pinion just slides off of that. Once you undo that 7/16 bolt, and everything else that I just said, you'll be ready to, you'll be ready to drop the subframe. Once you drop the subframe, you gotta come down here. Which I already did this. I already took out the flywheel converter bolts. Flywheel converter bolts right here. There's a little cover on it. Take it off. Get you a little wrench. Crank the flywheel around till you get to your bolts right here where you access your bolts. Turn those. Take those bolts out. 3 of them. Again, transmission lines. Everything drip. So you don't have a big mess. Then look at all these subframe bolts. They already look one here on the other side of the car. Can you see that? One right there and one on the opposite side of the car. So easy to get. So that's what we about to do. Take this 7/16 bolt out this steering column deal. Yeah, and the rack and pinion. And then we're gonna take these 4 bolts out. We're gonna slide all this down. And the motor's gonna hang in the air. Then I'm gonna be able to access the rest of the transmission bolts from the top. Well, I can already access those, but I'm just gonna unbolt the rest of the bolts. Drop the transmission. Slap another one back in. Ain't that hard. Shit, I just had to buy the tools to do this. I ain't no mechanic. I used to be, but I've been doing body work for the last 15, 20 years. I ain't been trying to get greasy. Grease and body work don't mix, man. And I don't like getting up under cars. We're gonna make this happen. Like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to get it out the mud. Start this new channel. Everybody else got a channel. Why I can't have a channel? I'm trying to get it out the mud too. Hey, like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Have a good day. God bless.